Welcome to the C60 Show, where we show you how to optimize your health with Carbon 60.
Hi, I'm Ken, a research scientist and founder of C60 Purple Power, and I'm here to explain the science of C60 and show how C60 works at the cellular level to give you back control of your health.
And I'm Sierra. I'm a mom, and I've been a health and wellness advocate for over 20 years now. And today, we'd like to address something that affects a large portion of the population, and that is fatigue.
Yes, persistent or chronic fatigue can be crippling, and it can keep you from enjoying life, succeeding at a rewarding career, or following your dreams.
If fatigue has got you down, stick around because in this video, we're going to show you how to beat it.
Yeah, we're live today and ready for your questions, so feel free to put those in the comments now. Before we get started, all opinions expressed on our show today are for informational purposes only and are not a substitute for professional medical advice. Please seek advice from your doctor or other healthcare practitioner. And these statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease. Individual results may vary.
All right. I'm excited about today's show because fatigue has been something that I've dealt with before in the past. I have autoimmune conditions. If you're familiar with autoimmune conditions, one of the first signs of a flare-up is just crippling fatigue. And it makes it really tough if you have a job, if you've got kids or any responsibilities outside of laying on the couch. So I'm excited to cover this topic today. And we're going to really focus on what are the causes of fatigue and why is your body making you slow down and get tired? Like, what are the reasons for that today? Because that's really how you want to address it, by removing and addressing all of those things that are causing you to feel this way. So I hope that you stick around to the end. This is going to be a great show, and it is live, of course. And let us know if you have any questions, because we always do a live Q&A at the end. Right now, I might be having some trouble sharing my screen. Oh, here we go. Yeah, we're using a new presentation software, and it's pretty cool. It's called Canva, but unfortunately, it's not easy to do.
There we go.
But here we are. And you already said our disclaimer.
Yes, we already said the disclaimer. So let's, moving along.
So fatigue is common, of course. I think we all have experienced fatigue at some point. But as far as like persistent fatigue that is actually affecting your daily life, about 20% of Americans claim to have fatigue that is intense enough to interfere with living a normal life. Really, if you think about it, you can't do much when you're tired. I mean, you've got weakness, lack of energy. I think we're all familiar with these things. Exhaustion, lack of motivation, obviously, difficulty concentrating or, brain fog, and then also difficulty starting and completing tasks. You're definitely not going to go clean your garage if you're not wanting to get off the couch. We are going to go over the top 10 reasons why you might be tired all the time. Number one is hormone issues. I can speak to this one. So with having thyroid conditions or autoimmune conditions of any kind, really, or especially adrenal insufficiency, I mean, that will exhaust your system. If let's say you're a really active, stressful person, then all of a sudden your energy just drops. And no matter how much you sleep or no matter how much you eat, you just can't get that energy back. It might be time to see your doctor and get your hormone levels checked. Also, thyroid hormone levels being too low or too high can also affect this. And then also as we age, you can see in this image here, as we age, our hormone levels decline, especially the sex hormones like testosterone and estrogen, and those can really help with energy levels. So we can talk about how you can improve those hormone levels in a bit.
Okay, one of the things is mitochondria issues. And mitochondria are little organelles inside your cell. You can have dozens or hundreds of them, depending on what cell type it is. And they produce ATP, which is the energy molecule of the cell. And that's what the cell uses to do pretty much everything in it. So if your mitochondria aren't working, well, then you have real problems. And there's various medical tests now that you can actually find for mitochondria. And people find a lot of mitochondria diseases or insufficiencies are underlying causes for a lot of these fatigue associations. Some of it's genetic, but a lot of it's environmental things that you can improve.
Now, we won't go too deep into this, but this would be a great topic for another show. But one thing that really slows down the production of energy, then really slows down the mitochondria, is oxidative stress, otherwise known as free radical damage. And so later we're going to talk about how you can help combat that oxidative stress naturally, because that's a really, really good way to handle this kind of issue. Number 3 is toxic overload. You really need to look at if you have any mold exposure in your household. Do a detox of your cupboards. Clean out your kitchen of any chemical foods or additives or preservatives or synthetic food products, and then also clean up your personal care products, because what you put on your skin ends up in your body, and that can be a real source of toxic overload that will really put a burden on your liver and everything else. We've actually done a show on how to do this, how to detox, how to avoid exposure to toxins, and you can check out a link to watch that. But yeah, that's a really good one. Let's see, what else do we have here?
Okay, inflammation. Now, inflammation is caused by oxidative radicals. And, of course, there's good inflammation, which is acute when you hurt yourself, but then there's chronic inflammation. And that's what you see in arthritis, infections, problems in your dental gums and stuff. And that's where real problems come in. And one of the things is nature has designed in us, let's say you twist your ankle or hurt something, you get the swelling, you get the redness, but also what it is, there's a suppression of dopamine, because the body just wants it to lie there and heal. And so dopamine is kind of like your motivation molecule that gets you up and going in the morning. And so when you got inflammation, well, it's naturally suppressed by the body. And so you stay there and heal. Well, that's great when you're acute inflammation. But when it's chronic inflammation, then it's a problem. You just don't want to do what you used to do, and you just lie around. So getting rid of that inflammation is really, really important. And for doing that, and there's places like, for instance, one thing is food sensitivities. That's, you could be allergic to various foods or other toxic materials around the house or the environment you're living in, and that's really important to identify those. And there's we've had shows on that.
Yes.
Well,
you can also go on an anti-inflammatory diet and remove some of the biggest culprits of inflammation with diet, which would be like gluten and dairy. So you could remove those things, see if you lose 8 pounds of water, see if the inflammation goes down, the pain in your joints go away, and then slowly introduce some of these things back in. If you notice you've got joint pain after you ate that bagel, maybe you need to cut out gluten. And then same with dairy, so you can do this process, and really there's a lot of things you can do to reduce inflammation, including you take C60, which we're going to get into a little later. But a very strong antioxidant can really be helpful. All right, number 5 is nutrient deficiencies. We've got to address nutrient deficiencies because it really, our immune system, everything runs on nutrients. You need nutrients to synthesize hormones, and everything your body needs to run properly at the cellular level, of course. So definitely go to your doctor at least yearly and see what your lab, your lipid panels, your metabolic panels, make sure that you're not deficient in any specific nutrients. Real quick trick, if you're having trouble sleeping, and that can obviously be a cause of fatigue, try taking some magnesium. There's certain supplements you can take. You may already take magnesium. You may already take fish oil, for instance, but if you take those at night, that will actually improve your sleep. And number 6 is sleep problems, which we just were getting into.
Yeah, and sleep, well, obviously there's some things like caffeine. You probably shouldn't take caffeine after 2 in the afternoon. I don't do it after 12 because it's just, it can stay there. And so if you drink coffee often, you can just, even if it's in the morning, if you're doing like 2 or 3 cups or, the big giant, lattes, that can be a real problem because it hangs out.
And some people are really sensitive to coffee. So even one cup of coffee could keep them up for days. I know that's crazy, but you might be somewhere on the spectrum where you're a little bit more sensitive, and even having any caffeine like green tea or something like that can be really tough and affect your sleep. So just because your friend can have a latte at 3 p.m. doesn't mean you can necessarily do it.
And a lot of those mycotoxins, the mold toxins that get in some coffees, that's why you want to get a coffee that's, say, from high altitude, Peru or something, because a lot of that, if you get agitated after you drink coffee, it may not be the caffeine. It's actually mold toxins in there, and your body's reacting them. So that's that. And also there's other things, we talked about the magnesium, there's melatonin, there's a few other things that help with sleep. And also, it's also a good thing. The other thing is blue light.
Yeah,
if you're watching that, because there's a bunch of receptors in your eye that are there, you have visual ones, but there's also ones that say if it's day or night. And so the blue light sends those receptors saying, oh, it's daytime. And so that suppresses melatonin production. So you can have some of those blue blocker glasses or change out your screen, either cover it or change it out. And so that would, getting rid of that blue light, and that blue light also applies to your phone and your television. They all put out that blue light. So having blue blocker glasses is a really good way to do that.
Yeah, let's say you want to go to bed at 10 o'clock. Well, maybe like starting around 9 p.m., dim the lights, start getting into that mode so it can signal to your body that it's time to settle down.
Yeah, and having a schedule is really important too. If you have a schedule that you do like every night rather than just out unstable, that can be a problem with causing
that's
sleep.
Actually huge, because some people on the weekend, they change their, they sleep in and then they stay up really late, and then you try to go back to your daily routine, and that could cause exhaustion right there, just that switch. So if there's any way you can stick to that routine, you're going to feel a lot better. If you have chronic fatigue, it's definitely worth trying. Number 7 is dehydration. You wouldn't think it, but actually dehydration, fatigue is one of the symptoms of dehydration. So make sure you're getting at least 8 ounce cups of water a day. If you're on a high protein diet, you actually need more water. Or if you're highly active, athletic performer or somebody like that, then you need to drink more water as well. And if you're a runner, you might want to drink water every 15 minutes if you're doing a marathon. So just keep yourself hydrated. Number 8 is poor diet.
Oh, yes, that's really important. And one of the things is that problems with that is like refined carbs and seed oils. They have really a high glycemic index. And so they're turned to sugar, you get the whole insulin response, then you get the crash afterwards.
And the inflammation.
And the inflammation that comes from that. So things that you need to do is you need to eat foods that are like low glycemic index. And that's like whole grains. Okay, if you're into doing the grains. Also high fiber vegetables, nuts, all those, and healthy oils such as olive or avocado or even coconut oil. So you aren't getting the inflammation, and it takes your body a while. The body has to work at digesting those, and so you don't get like a huge insulin rush that blasts in.
When you go and you eat, let's say, a burger and fries with your friend, and then you have to go back to work. Oh my gosh, like you want to fall asleep at your desk because your body, it's oil and fat is the hardest thing for your body to digest. It takes the longest. And so it just like sucks all the blood out of your brain. You've got brain fog because you're trying to digest this crazy heavy meal. So keep it light, especially during lunch. If you want to go back to work and have a productive day, keep your meal light, keep to, like you said, low glycemic foods. If you're eating sugar, you're going to get a rush of energy, right? But then you're going to crash. Yeah. So just keep that in mind. You might have to take a nap an hour later.
Yeah. And there's also a thing on food matching, because you need to like, for instance, when you eat like heavy starches with protein, sure, that the body uses 2 different ways to digest that. And so when you got that, so meat and potatoes isn't probably the best. So if you're going to do the burger or meat thing, probably just get a salad on the side and put the carbs in another meal. There's a whole thing on food matching that's really the sad
food
diet.
Combining, right?
Yes, the sad American diet doesn't really have. So, and then there's other things that we think about, high-fat foods like red meat and whole dairy products. They can they're kind of difficult to digest. and especially if you mix them. So it's
they take a long time, to digest.
So you might want to eat it. And it's also a good thing to eat earlier in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of like waiting till I've talked about the intermittent fasting, but even if you're not doing that, if you eat a really heavy meal late at night, your body is going to be digesting that for hours. And there's various times during the night when, different things like the liver kicks in, and there's times of detox. And so if you're still digesting when part of your system should be going to detox, well, then you've got problems. So it's best to like space your meals, eat a little earlier in the evening, and there's not as much, and if you're out in a restaurant, it's not so busy then too.
I'm glad you mentioned the liver because, we did a show on liver health recently, and that's a huge part of it. If you do eat late at night, also if you drink alcohol, you may feel like, wow, I pass out so nicely when I drink this glass of wine before bed, but it will wake you up probably at 3 a.m. And that's probably your liver talking to you.
Yeah.
So moving on. Number 9 is lack of exercise. You need to move around. If you've been sitting at your desk all day, what will happen is, you're not going to get your lungs really pulling in oxygen, and then you're going to start slowing down. So you've got to get that breath in there. You've got to exercise so that you can really get that oxygen.
Yes, and now winter's over, so you can get out of your house. You can go walking around. And,
also, here's a little trick. If you do a power pose, if you're super tired sitting at your desk or whatever, if you like yoga, like me, I love yoga. I do it every day. I love it so much. But if you do a power pose, it can actually apparently help your production of testosterone and estrogen. So that's kind of cool.
That's a good one. And that kind of gets us into stress and emotions.
Yes.
Of course, that is a really, there's ways to relax. Like one of the biggest things you can do to reduce your stress is stop watching television. Stop watching the fear porn on the evening news. I mean, that's how they fear sells. And so, and it's always, and also all the other things that they're stimulating with the, the subliminals and the advertising. That's why they went to digital. So, I mean, getting rid of that and, getting getting rid of all that, the fear porn at the end of the day with the news, just kind of getting into a relaxed state before, nighttime comes, or just generally. I mean, you've got meditation, you have something. I mean, listen to some nice music that you like. Go take a walk with the dog, or, just go outside and enjoy things. Kind of, step away from the hustle and bustle that everybody, you need a break from that, from like the job sometimes, when the job's over, you go home and you have a family and you have other times that you can, just kind of back down, and emotions too. It's getting rid of emotional problems. Anyway, that's.
Well, just remember, I'd like to take off here. Okay, so just remember, stress starts in the brain. So if you can control your brain, i.e., if you can meditate and maybe calm yourself by just focusing on calming yourself, then you can stop that stress response and you can stop that reaction. So you may be around the most draining people in the world or toxic relationships and things like that. Of course, that's better to remove yourself completely from those situations. Yes. But at least you can take a deep breath and take a pause and try not to react, because it will trigger this cascade event, which will increase your cortisol levels, which will cause more inflammation, which will cause more fatigue, right? So it's one of those cycles.
Yes.
All right, well, that's it for our causes. Now we're going to talk about how to beat it, right? So here's the formula. We just gave you this whole list of causes. We're not going to go into all the list of ways to beat it, because the way you beat it is you address those causes. So discover those causes. If there are any causes we mentioned today that you're like, oh, shoot, I know I do that, or I know I need to change that, you can start addressing them. But here's a tip. Start with the easy ones. Start with addressing the deficiencies and toxicities, because then you'll get results, you'll get better energy levels so that you can address the more difficult ones, like changing your lifestyle, your diet, and all that stuff that takes a little bit more effort. Because otherwise, you may not, we want to set you up for success, right? So do the easy stuff first. Start taking your vitamins and start getting rid of all the toxic stuff in your life, right? Whether it be people or food or personal care products. Now comes one of our favorite parts, of course, is talking about C60. If you're new here today and you're wondering what the heck is C60, we're going to explain that to you real quick right now.
Yes, C60 is a molecule, 60 carbon atoms. It's shaped like a little soccer ball. And it's a super antioxidant. And what it can do, it basically works, especially in the mitochondria, it neutralizes superoxygen, which is a high, powerful oxidative radical, basically an oxygen with an extra electron, the hydroxyl radical, peroxynitrate, and possibly hydrogen peroxide. So those are the things that it neutralizes. And what's really cool about the C60 molecule, unlike other antioxidants, when an oxidative radical would hit the antioxidant, it changes its form. Well, C60 actually stores hydrogen ions on the inside of its cage-like structure. And so when negatively charged, it becomes positively charged. So when a negatively charged oxidative radical sticks to it, it releases one of those hydrogen atoms and neutralizes the oxidative radical back to water or oxygen or whatever it is and resets itself. So C60 can reset itself hundreds of times a second, and that's why it's characterized as hundreds of times more powerful than conventional antioxidants. And the other cool thing about C60 is it doesn't interfere with the signaling molecules. There's nitrogen oxides, which are oxidative radicals, and they dilate and contract your blood vessels depending on levels. And there's ones built on sulfur, zinc, and iron, and the body uses those for signaling molecules. That's why C60 doesn't interfere with those low energy oxidative radicals. And that's why even at 10,000 times what a person might be taking in scientific studies, they found that it had no toxicity whatsoever.
Translation. That was a lot of big words. Ken is our scientist guy, and he knows all those big words. But I'm going to explain it in layman's terms. Basically, what he's trying to say is, look, your body gets a lot of free radical damage. Part of that comes from the body's own natural processes of energy production, right? We talked about the mitochondria. So if you can help the body relieve some of that oxidative burden, everything's going to function better at the cellular level. If your cells are happy, you're going to be happy. More energy, you're going to have more energy, right? So, and the other thing is we're talking about, vitamin C is an antioxidant, vitamin E is an antioxidant, but C60 is actually several hundred times more powerful than traditional antioxidants like vitamin C. And it doesn't interfere with anything. So you can't, with vitamin C or vitamin E, you can take too much. In fact, it could kill you.
Yes, exactly.
So but with vitamin C60,
well, yes,
they actually did research studies.
Yes, and they gave it 10,000 times what a normal dose. Which I mean, like if you took 10,000 times vitamin E, vitamin D, you might not make it. But with C60, it has no toxic effect because it only interacts with high energy oxidative radicals and no signaling molecules. So you don't have to worry about like taking it before exercise because it's going to mess with your redox structure. So that's really, that's one of the amazing things about C60.
And one last thing I'll say about it is that not only did they discover it didn't have toxicity, but oh my goodness, the test animals live 90% longer.
Yes.
So why is that? Can you explain that to us?
Basically, once the oxidative damage is basically your body rusting. And it's damaging, proteins, membranes, DNA, RNA. And so when you take C60, the oxidative stress goes down. In fact, a lot of people who you can test aldehydes in your urine. It's a common test that they use to measure oxidative stress. And people have found that after they take C60, it just goes away. You don't have aldehydes and aldehydes are a sign of oxidative stress in your body. And so if you don't have them, then you know that the oxidative stress. So that can actually be measured on various tests.
Didn't we just get a letter from, who was that sent us a letter? And she'd been trying everything to reduce her oxidative stress. And she had gotten it down a little bit. But then when she started taking C60, it actually went away.
Yeah, it went to zero.
How long has she been taking it? A couple of weeks?
Just a couple of days when it started going. So it's just, it gets right in there and gets rid of those oxidative radicals. I mean, and one of the things is that we age, right? As we age, when we're young, you remember when you're young, okay? But as we age, the mitochondria, which provide all the energy for a cell, the larger cell provides them antioxidants. Well, the larger cells kind of slow down their antioxidant production. So now there's not enough antioxidants for the mitochondria to run to full efficiency. So they have to slow down their production. So you start dropping energy, you start dropping pregnenolone. And when you take C60, then the mitochondria can ramp back up because they have enough antioxidants. They actively uptake the C60 and use it as an antioxidant. So now they can run at full efficiency. So you get your ATP back. There's your energy. Your energy comes back. So you feel better. Also, the other thing is, like for instance, it also promotes hormone levels because your mitochondria. We're
going to get into that.
Okay.
But first, I want to say one more thing because C60 actually reduces the oxidative stress. Oxidative stress, as we mentioned earlier, I don't know if you remember, causes two things. One, inflammation, and two, aging.
Yes.
It is the cause of aging. So it's something you want to think about. But let's talk about how C60 can help you beat fatigue, because that's why we're here today. First, I have to tell you that the number one reported benefit, one of the number one ones, is increased energy and mental clarity. The other one is actually reduced pain, but we're going to talk about how it increases your energy. So let's start with number one.
Supports hormone levels.
Yes.
And this is where the pregnenolone, because one of the things your mitochondria do besides making ATP, the energy molecule cell, that's what your cell does to do everything. So if you don't have ATP, you got low levels, you got problems. But the mitochondria also make pregnenolone, which is the precursor molecule for all the hormones. So for instance, if you wanted to promote better sleep, well, in your pineal gland, once your mitochondria are working well in your pineal gland, they're going to be producing pregnenolone, and then your pineal gland will turn that into melatonin, which is the molecule that puts you to sleep at night. And also energy production, like for instance, in your pituitary hypothalamus complex, it produces human growth hormone. And that's got a huge thing to go with energy production, because it goes through the whole body and does that. In the same way, it's in the adrenals. When you get it in there, you get to see the mitochondria and the adrenals are now working. They're making enough pregnenolone, so you can produce all the hormones you need. Because a lot of times there's a thing called pregnenolone steal, where if you're under a huge amount of stress, your adrenals can only make so much of one type of, they don't have enough pregnenolone. They're going to focus on making cortisol, right? And there's none left over for the androgens, which is which your testes turn into to testosterone or estrogen or progesterone, depending on what it is.
Those.
Yes, and if you have and they also the mineral corticoids, that kind of balances your blood pressure, and also the glucocorticoids, they help balance your glucose processing. So once you get pregnenolone production up everywhere, then all of these different hormone producing organs in your body can now produce hormones the way that they used to be. And so your body just works better. And that's why you're getting, mental clarity. Because, there's a lot of neurosteroids that are hormones that are produced. That's part of it. And also you get your ATP back. So that's also part of mental clarity, because now, because you have to make neurotransmitters. That takes ATP. You have to transport neurotransmitters. That takes ATP. And then the neurotransmitters are released and have to be uptaken again. That takes ATP. So when you have your ATP up, then that's your mental clarity. And of course, it also supporting the healthy immune inflammatory response, because what creates inflammation? Oxidative radicals. Mm-hmm. They're rusting your body. You stop the oxidative radicals before they can cause damage, then you don't get the immune response. You don't get the inflammation. And you don't get the dopamine suppression, which of course is another thing that, the motivation molecule. So it's all of these things. It works kind of in a holistic weather. And C60 doesn't cure anything. What C60 does, it lifts the oxidative burden that your cells are under. And once the oxidative burden is gone, then your cells can operate the way that they're supposed to. And that's the secret, because your cells can heal yourself. Your body can heal itself. You just have to lift the burden it's under and then let them do the job that they're meant to do.
Well, I think I've experienced most of these benefits. Now, some of them you might feel right away. Usually the one that people notice first is the mental clarity and increased energy. But after about a year and a half of taking C60, I actually noticed my thyroid levels went up, because I went to my doctor and she's like, oh, you don't need to take all this thyroid medication anymore. So we actually reduced my medication by 2/3. And I've also heard of other people being able to completely get off their thyroid medication or other hormones. But we could talk all day about this stuff. It's great. And there are a lot of other videos about how it's helped people with cholesterol and blood pressure and all kinds of things, because really, that's the main thing it does. It gets rid of the oxidative stress, which just leads to so many great benefits. So anyway, we're excited about that. I have a testimonial to share today.
Okay, cool.
And this is a good one.
Yes, it is.
Tracy says, my journey started in 2019, my sickest year to date. I had 3,000 milligrams of pharmaceutical steroids administered, and it made me sicker. I found out about C60 Purple Power, and I started taking it. And within a week, I saw impressive results. The energy it gives me is like a boost when I need it most. For example, I will get fatigued without C60 cleaning my house, but if C60 is taken, it's like I am Sonic the Hedgehog cleaning top to bottom without breaking a sweat. C60 has given me multiple benefits such as detox, memory recall beyond belief, keeping autoimmune illness from progressing. It increases longevity, and I realize my skin is smoother, brighter, and dark marks are fading day by day after taking C60 consistently. The list goes on for these incredible benefits C60 provides. This is easily one of the best supplements I have ever taken. Thank you, Ken, the scientist. I have never personally tried other C60 companies, but I have tried other supplements that claim to give me the same results as C60, and C60 Purple Power knocks them all out of the park.
Well, that's a great testimonial, Tracy.
Yeah, if you guys have a testimonial, please do share. You can visit c60purplepower.com/testimonial or call our voicemail and leave us a voicemail call our testimonial hotline, leave us a voicemail, and you'll get a 10% off.
Great.
And I have a quick announcement.
Oh, yes.
I'm excited. We have a new flavor. I know you guys might know we came out with cinnamon and orange flavors, which I love, and now we have peppermint. So, real quick, if you guys like Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, tag us on there and share recipes with us. We'd love to see what you come up with. How would you use these flavors? I like to make a mocktail, like a mock mojito, and put some of the peppermint in there, or a cinnamon latte, or orange, a little bit of the orange in my club soda. So there's a lot of great ideas. We're going to be sharing them on our Instagram feed, so definitely follow us there. And also today, please use the coupon code the C60 Show if you'd like 15% off your entire order at c60purplepower.com.
Well, it's probably time to go check out the questions, and let's see who's sent in. Yeah. So, and if you have a question right now, put it into comments so we can talk about it.
Oh yeah, we have some questions. We do. Oh, okay. My goodness. We have quite a few.
Okay, good.
We're so glad that you're all here today. Thank you for joining us. Let's start with a Facebook question. Can I use C60 for skin fungus?
Yes. The C60 will strengthen the skin to make it work better, but what's really great is MCT coconut oil, because the MCT means medium chain triglycerides, and they go after things that have cell walls. And so, for instance, fungi and bacteria have cell walls, and so the MCT will really go after them, whereas we have cell membranes as animals, and it doesn't affect us at all. So yeah, especially if you've got some fungus problems, MCT oil is great.
And if you do have fungus problems on your skin, you might want to think about treating candida or something inside your body too that could be causing those things. Twitter question. Does C60 have any impact on herpes?
The C60 strengthens the immune system. And so if you've got, if you have a weak immune system, then you can have problems with viruses, and not just that, but there's other retroviruses like the Epstein-Barr virus, the distemper virus, those are in there. So yeah, C60 can help strengthen the immune system. It does it by several ways. Obviously strengthen the immune cells, but it also C60 has been known to make more stem cells. And so when the immune system faces a challenge, it needs troops. So stem cells are like undifferentiated cells, and the immune says, and so they can become whatever it is. The immune system says, hey, we need more immune cells. Well, those stem cells will turn to immune cells very rapidly, and now you've got troops to fight whatever it is. So yeah, C60 can help. Of course, there's other things you need to do, like good diet, and don't disregard, things from your doctor too.
And what about shingles?
Shingles are basically the revived chickenpox. And I can actually tell you as a teacher, because back in the day, it's basically if you get exposed to live chickenpox virus, then about every 10 years you don't have shingles, because then your body re-recognizes it and goes back and does it. As a teacher, that used to happen to me, so I don't have it. So yeah, that's basically, shingles can probably help with that. Getting re-exposed to live chicken pox virus is probably the number one thing that would take care of your shingles.
All right. Instagram question. What dosage would you recommend to get immune system stronger and general health?
Okay. Basically, for an average adult in weight and size and age, if you're a young adult or mid, even, up to your 40s or something, a teaspoon a day is pretty fine.
That works for
people
me.
do. Now, once you get a lot of gray hair and you get up in your 60s or 70s, then you're pushing at a tablespoon, or if you weigh a lot. So it's kind of like a thing between body weight in age, and the more body weight and the more age you have, the more C60. But really, more than a tablespoon a day isn't really necessary unless you're really working on some serious health problem.
Or if you're super active, if you're an
Yes.
athlete, then you could use more, because when actually exercise, strenuous exercise produces more free radicals.
Oh, yeah.
So you would need more for that as well.
Yes, that's true. Yes.
Let's see. Question from Instagram. I would love the names from these people, by the way. But anyway, what dosage? I'm sorry. I have a lot of allergies and IBS. Do you know if many people react to your product?
Okay, we have 3 different oils, and you can do olive oil, avocado oil, or MC2 coconut oil. If you're wondering if you have an allergy to some oil like that, what you do is you take it on the inside of your arm and just take some of the oil and rub it on the skin. And if you get like a big reddish response, then you're allergic to that. If you don't, then you're probably not. And people are pretty much olive oil and avocado oil. There's pretty low reactivities and allergies of that. And C60 will definitely reduce your allergies. A lot of people have noted they get a lot less allergy problems in the spring, I think.
We did a show on that.
Okay, yes.
You can watch that.
We've done 90 shows. I was looking at the
90
things.
videos.
90 videos are on our site now.
This is episode 59, so we're almost to number 60. Let's see. Sorry. Okay. I'm having surgery. Should I stop using C60 beforehand? Does it have blood thinning properties?
Well, C60, because C60 is dissolved in oil, when your surgeon says, hey, stop taking food, you need to stop taking C60, because C60 is in that oil's the food. And we've had people have great results with surgery. What they do is they kind of pile up on the C60. C60 does not cause blood thinning. So that's not a problem.
But then they stop it.
Yeah, and then you stop it. Yeah, you stop it when the doctor says stop eating food because C60 is in an oil. You need to stop it there. And then when your doctor says, hey, you can eat food again after the surgery, then you can start taking your C60. But always follow your doctor's advice when it's coming to surgeries.
All right. Jesus on YouTube says, started taking C60 avocado last Sunday. Not sure if it started working, but looking forward to potential improvements. So last Sunday you'll probably notice soon.
Yeah, and you might want to, depending on it is, like a teaspoon a day, or depending on your age, you could do a tablespoon a day. And the C60 hangs around in the body for a while, between a week and 10 days. They're kind of figured out. It goes through different organs at different times. And so it takes a while to kind of build up concentrations. And then once that happens, then you'll start seeing things. So it's not like it's not going to be a magic pill that's going to do it. It just takes a while. And then after you get a lot of the short-term benefits, and then you'll see a lot of long-term benefits as your body rebuilds itself, as stem cells go in and replace senescent cells, then you'll start seeing some long-term benefits.
You know what's funny? People get shocked because they'll go 2 weeks and be like, I don't feel anything. And then all of a sudden they'll remember, oh wait, that pain in my hip is gone. Oh wait, I haven't gotten a headache, my weekly headache. And then they start realizing, so it's not that you're not experiencing benefits. It's just that you probably don't realize yet that you are. So you could keep a journal, keep your C60 journal. Day 1, 1 teaspoon. This is how I feel. Also experiment with the dosage. If you're not feeling anything, try taking a little more. Take up to a tablespoon. See how that makes you feel. Maybe not the first few days, because there will be some detox. You might want to ease into it.
Yes.
But if you ease into it, you're still not feeling that increased energy and that increased zest for life that you'll feel, and that motivation that you'll feel, then take a little bit more. See how that works. You'll know if you take too much, because if you take too much, you'll feel so great. Your brain will be so focused and clear, and then it won't shut off.
Yes. So and that's also why we recommend taking C60 in the morning, because it does have a stimulatory effect, gets your brain going, gets everything going. So it's just like coffee, take it in the morning, and then things smooth out. And toward the end, if you've never taken a straight oil before, you can take it with food in the morning. Some people, if your body's your body will adjust to taking an oil straight after a while. But if you've never done that before, you can always mix it with a little food at the breakfast, and that's fine too. Or put it in the coffee. Some people do that paleo thing. Yeah,
if you start getting psychic and telepathic and things like that, and you're not really into that kind of thing, you can lower your dosage.
Yeah, there's other strange side effects.
Or if it's a full moon, you could take a little less.
Yes.
If you're like me. All right. Let's see. A YouTube question from Ken. Oh, wait. that was for Ken, sorry. YouTube question from Bree says, how should I take C60 to help leaky gut? I got leaky gut from 3 grams of intravenous NSAID steroids. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, first off, the C60, as because it's taken internally, can go help heal the gut lining in that sense, but because it reduces the oxidative stress. But the thing you really need to do is when you need to like work on probiotics, like a good soil biotic and maybe some other probiotics, because a lot of times you take the steroids, you take antibiotics, your gut microbe, because there's a symbiosis, our gut lining and the good microbes work together to give you good digestion. And so if if your microbe's been wiped out, probiotics are really important.
Now, you mentioned before that C60 increases stem cells. Well, stem cells are also needed to make gut cells, and we turn over our stomach lining every few days. So you really do need to have a good stem cell level. That's why as people age, they start to get leaky gut and problems like that. So yes, I would take at least a teaspoon of C60 daily and see if that helps you. Let's see. Liz says, if we are aligning to the crystalline grid and become crystalline, how does the C60 affect that?
Well, I don't know. See, if you were thinking on that, C60 is a unique molecule. It's got 60. This C60 molecule can have 100 million quantum states at one time. So this C60 can vibrate in 100 million.
Could you explain what she's asking first? Because I have no idea what this is.
Well, it's a metaphysical thing that people are doing. But as far as it kind of relates to quantum resonance. And so you can have like 100 million different quantum resonance states in one C60 molecule. And I'm not going to go into quantum because it's really causing me a headache.
This is news to me. I didn't realize that.
So it has a high level of high level. So it could be used as a communication device too. If you put 100 different channels on it, 100 million different channels on it.
Is that why you get more psychic?
Maybe.
Okay, well, we got to do a show for the woo-woo people all about that, okay?
Okay.
All right, on our BitChute channel. All right. Christopher Moore says from Facebook, do you recommend supplements such as how do you say that?
Resveratrol.
Resveratrol.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's,
to combine C60
yeah.
with C60 for anti-aging and anti-inflammation.
Yeah. And C60, it's an antioxidant. It's a great 100 times more powerful, but it doesn't replace good nutrition. You need to get your multivitamins, your multi-minerals, resveratrol. All of those things are good. Don't stop taking that because you're taking C60. C60 is an antioxidant. It has its deal, lifts the oxidative burden your cells are under so they can function properly. But if those cells don't have all the nutrients and minerals they need to function, then you don't get the full benefit. So and especially today's food is so low in it's factory farming and all that. You really need to supplement with
soil isn't very
exactly
rich.
A multivitamin, multi-mineral supplement, and there's other things you can do too. And of course, eating organic, that's really huge, especially if you want to reduce your toxic burden and inflammation. And then, of course, eating healthy things like stay away from seed oils. But we've done lots of shows on these.
We talk about that a lot.
So that's, you can go back and look on our channel, the C60 Purple Power on YouTube, and we've got shows on all those things.
And one more thing to say, C60 won't interfere with taking any of your vitamins or supplements. So you can be...
Yeah, because that's one thing it does. It doesn't interfere with the signaling molecules, reactive oxidative species. It doesn't interfere with, minerals, vitamins, nutrients, supplements, drugs, anything. It only interacts with high energy oxidative radicals. That's it.
Okay. I can answer this one.
Okay.
Blue Pearl from YouTube says, can the body get used to C60 and results plateau after using a couple of years? Is C60 more effective on soft tissue health issue versus bone as in arthritis? Go ahead. You can tackle it first.
Okay. Well, one of the things that C60 does, and we'll get into that, is you got a lot of senescent cells in your body. Those are cells with shortened telomeres. They can't really reproduce. They're pulling energy. They're producing nothing for your body. When C60 gets in there, restarts another thing senescent cells do, they turn down their mitochondria because the mitochondria are like symbiosis. So when the mitochondria in your senescent cell kick back into activity, they're not only going to make ATP, they're going to send messages to the nuclear DNA. And if they don't get the right message back, they'll cause apoptosis, which is programmed cell death. And the cell will break down in apoptotic bodies, which is not inflammatory. And then the phagocytes come by and eat them up. Okay, and then you got less cells in an organ or tissue than you need. And messages go out to stimulate for more stem cells, and then those stem cells come in and replace the missing cells. And that's maybe what happened with Sierra, where she's got 2/3 of her thyroid back, is the senescent cells in her thyroid, which weren't doing their job, they got wiped out.
Get out of there.
Stem cells came in and became fully functional cells. And so that's, you get this long-term improvement. I mean, we have people that supposed nephron damage in their kidneys. It's never going to go away. Boom. They're back to 100% kidney function. I mean, I had the macular degeneration thing. I was getting, and there's no, quote, cure for that. Well, boom, it went away. And the C60 does it by just lifting
liver damage.
Yeah, the damage. Oh, yeah, damage, and then it can heal itself. You lift the oxidative burden that cells are under, and cells can heal. And that's what does your healing. Your own body does the healing. It just needs a chance to get that to happen.
Yeah, and it's like getting a haircut for your cells, right? You don't want to have all those split ends. Anyway, but from my own personal experience with C60, I have not noticed a plateau. If you do, you could try taking a little more and see how you feel. Yeah. Because your tolerance will go up. And in other words, at first we always tell people to start small and then expand on that. So start with maybe a half a teaspoon and then work your way up to a teaspoon. So as your body clears out the heavy metals and the toxins and all of that, you can take a little more and just experiment with it.
Yeah, and if you got a little gray hair, you probably want to be pushing for the tablespoon level.
Is there, Jaga Wunster from YouTube says, is there anything I should take with C60? Anything is there anything I should not take with C60? Anything I should take?
Well, sometimes hydrogen gas water works well, or hydrogen gas therapy. That's something that supercharges C60, because C60 likes to store little hydrogen ions on the inside, hydrogen gas, and use it to neutralize oxidative radicals. So that can help.
So like supercharges.
Yeah, supercharges it. One thing we do have a warning is when C60 restores the mitochondria function, and mitochondria make pregnenolone, and then the pregnenolone, especially in your adrenals, there's things like mineralocorticoid production will return to a much higher level. So if you're on a blood thinner, the underlying problem which caused that thick blood, which is lack of mineralocorticoids, it could be really quickly go away. And so you need to monitor with your doctor to make sure that your blood doesn't come too thin if you're taking blood thinners. That is one warning we do have for people.
All right, we've got someone from Mars. His name is Preppers.
Okay.
And YouTube question, he says, does it accumulate in the body? How long does it stay in your system?
It doesn't accumulate in the body. The body pretty much, it doesn't make, because C60 only interacts with high energy oxidative radicals, it doesn't make really any permanent chemical bonds in the body. And it's actually a cousin of diamond. It's very kind of smooth and non-reactive. And so it basically washes out of your body in about, what they say, a week to 10 days. And it usually goes out through the gallbladder or sometimes the urine. So it won't hang around. It doesn't build up. It gets out pretty quickly. And so that's why you need to probably take it every day to keep it up, because your body, it just doesn't hold on to it. It just washes out.
And there's no ill effects. Like if you stop taking it, you're not going to all of a sudden your cells aren't going to be healthy anymore. It's not like that.
No, not at all. They found even after taking it, people take it for some of the animal studies that they did, the one that they increased their growth by 90%, or their lifespan by 90%. Well, when the last control rat died, they stopped giving the rats C60 anymore. And of course, it took years later. In fact, the last 2 rats wouldn't die. They had a terrible accident. So Musa could publish the study. So, it could have if they'd kept C60 the whole time, it could have easily doubled or more the lifespan of those rats, the Worcester rats. So
they just were impatient.
Yes,
they should have waited to see.
Well, with 5.5 years doing a study, you've got to publish sometime. So anyway, we won't go into that. But so that's, yes.
But no test animals died in the making of this product.
No test animals died. That's just one of the things and even when they tried to poison them, they gave them a gram per kilogram of body weight, which is 10,000 times what a person might be taking. No ill effects at all. Zero. They just were really happy. They were really healthy rats that lived a long, long time.
Okay. Liquid Lifestyles from YouTube says, what about black seed oil? Also, what are benefits of using your oil topically? Can it help with eczema?
Oh, yeah. The oils, the C60 can help. Oils, so there's 2 things. C60 is dissolved in oils, and we've chosen stable oils. There's some seed oils like safflower oil or sunflower oil or canola oil or cottonseed oil or peanut oil. And these tend to be, they have a high omega-6 level. They tend to be inflammatory. So we don't use those. And then there's other things like flax and hemp and fish oils, which are great for you, but they have a great omega-3 profile, but they go rancid really quickly. So we've chosen like the Goldilocks place of the good oils. And so, yeah, and things like black seed oil, they have great benefits of their own. So and so does avocado and olive oil. Those are kind of part of the Mediterranean diet, which has a long thing. MCT coconut oil helps because the MCTs turn into triglycerides. The triglycerides can be turned into ketones and that your body can use as a flex fuel. So if you've got glucose processing issues, your liver will turn it into ketones, and that's an alternative flex fuel for your body. So,
okay.
but yeah, you can definitely use it topically, and it has the C60 will do benefits. The oil has a certain benefit, but yeah, I mean, eating a healthy diet and black seed oil has its own benefits.
Well,
too.
and gut health, as far as the eczema, gut health is really, really important if you have any kind of skin condition. So focus on that.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. That's because that gut healing gut. And of course, I recommend intermittent fasting, which also greatly improves gut health, but that's for other shows we talked about before. I can't.
We have more questions to get to.
I could go on for hours. Yes.
We have some email questions actually. Mary says, "Will C60 help relieve an athletic 6 foot, 150-pound, 19-year-old's menstrual cramps with 1 teaspoon a day?"
We've had women who've reported that their menstrual problems become much less using C60.
Well, I take a teaspoon, but this person is definitely a little heavier, so maybe they could do a tablespoon.
Yeah, you could do a tablespoon, especially if you're an athlete.
She is 19,
yeah,
so she may not need as much.
Yeah, but she's at 19. Yeah, definitely we've had lots of customer reports on this.
And then the second part of the question is, how can C60 benefit a 50-year-old athletic trainer woman taking chemotherapy for breast cancer? And then can you recommend dosage for 140 pounds?
If you're on something like chemo or something, you've got a lot of oxidative radicals. You probably, I'm not a doctor, I can't give medical advice, but you'd probably be pushing for the tablespoon level. And it's just the oxidative, radicals. And I'm not going to get some of that stuff you can't get into because of what it is, but yeah, it's just it'll definitely, it gets rid of inflammation, and it'll
help with the chemotherapy side effects, right?
No, it's not. That's something that C60.
We can't even talk about that.
Yeah, but C60 doesn't interfere with any drugs, so it's only deals with high energy oxidative radicals. That's all it does.
Okay. Is there a side effect? I'm sorry. Is there a die-off effect? Like the Herxheimer thing?
Oh,
I guess candida die-off, is that what you're talking about?
It could be. Well, there's two things. It gets rid of senescent cells in your body. And so that
would be a die-off.
That would be a die-off of cells that aren't functioning in your body. Because C60, once the mitochondria can go back to fully functioning in a cell, if the cell's defective, they'll cause apoptosis, go away, and then stem cells will come and replace it. It also, C60 helps, once you get the oxidative stress off of it, especially like the little cells in the inside of your intestine, the epithelia cells in the inside of your intestines, they make proteins. And then the proteins on the outside of their cell walls allow them to stick together. Well, one of the problems is if you've got oxidative burden inside that cell, then especially those proteins are made in the endoplasmic reticulum, which C60 likes to hang out in too, then you get making damaged proteins, or you don't have enough AT to make the proteins that you need. Well, C60 gets in there, lifts the oxidative burden. Now you got the ATP, and you're not getting damaged by the endoplasma. The oxidative damage is not happening to those proteins before they're made, because lift the oxidative burden, and then the cells can function the way they're supposed to be.
And just a reminder today, I know we said this at the beginning of the show, but we are not doctors,
yes.
So all opinions expressed are for informational purposes only, and please seek advice from your medical doctor, whether it's about chemotherapy or any of these topics that we talked about.
And C60 is not going to replace the medicine you're taking, so keep doing your medicines.
Yes, please.
That you've been prescribed.
Yes. We have another question from email. Joanna says, I have a question concerning dosage. I have just discovered in today's order instructions suggesting 1 teaspoon per day. I'm afraid in the past I've taken much more than even a tablespoon, and was wondering if this is detrimental to my health. Can it be harmful by taking more than 1 teaspoon?
No, you could. They did with the animal rats that they gave 10,000 times the level a person would be taking, and there was no ill effects. Of course, that would be like drinking a liter of oil a day. which might have other effects. But sometimes the rats probably weren't all that happy because they I shoved it down their throats. But no, there's C60 has no toxicity really at any level.
All right.
It just at some point you're probably just wasting it because you get up to a point and that's it. Probably a tablespoon a day or 2 tablespoons at the most. Beyond that, you're probably just wasting your money on because you're not going to. It goes up. It's an oxidative antioxidant. It goes up to a certain level, and that's all it's going to do because it only messes with the high energy oxidative radicals your body doesn't use as signaling molecules. So yeah, beyond a certain point, more isn't going to get you much benefit.
Right. Okay. Question about if C60 helps with bacterial infection or virus infection, and whether it helps, and also what dosage.
The thing about bacteria and viral infections, C60 definitely strengthens the immune system. But when you've got bacteria and viral infections, there's other things you need to be doing to battle those. C60 can help by strengthen the immune system, but there's things like diet. There's various other treatments that essential oils and that stuff, which I am not a medical doctor or naturopath. So you really need to, if you've got a serious virus or bacterial problem, you need to talk to a health professional to help you. That C60 can do some things, but you need a health professional to help you with those things because that's it's not a cure-all. It's just an antioxidant.
But when you're recovering from like chronic infection or something like that, you really do need to kind of rebuild the strength of those whatever organs were affected, because bacteria and viruses will attack the areas of weakness in your body. So what C60 can help you do is to rebuild and regenerate and restore some of those damaged tissues.
Yeah, and if you've ever taken antibiotics or especially recently, you need to get probiotics and prebiotics and probiotics and rebuild the healthy gut biome inside of you. It's really important because good health starts in the gut.
We've got time for one more question.
Oh.
Let me see if we have any more questions on YouTube. Okay, we're good there. Tim says, hi, just wondering when I should see any effects or notice anything different since taking C60. I'm currently taking 1 teaspoon daily. I am a 63-year-old male weighing 270 pounds. Any advice is greatly appreciated. I guess he didn't mention how long he's been taking it.
Yeah, if you're 63, probably got a few gray hairs, and you're heavy, you'd probably need to step up to like a tablespoon a day would be way more appropriate for you because you both have a lot of body size and you've got age, which I know about. So yeah, probably a tablespoon would be much more likely to see effects with that.
And we know that if you're overweight, you've got inflammation.
Yeah, and so that's important to help get that down.
All right. Well, I think that is it for questions today. Thank you for all of those questions. Oh, yeah,
that was really good. Yeah,
that was amazing.
I'm glad. Yeah, thank you for those questions.
We hope you'll join us on our next show. We do the show live every second and fourth Wednesday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. Don't know where you guys are. We're in Colorado. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed our show. Please give it a big thumbs up if you did and share it with your friends.
Hey, and if you'd like to try C60 for yourself, visit c60purplepower.com and remember to use the coupon code TheC60Show for 15% off.
And if you're watching us on YouTube today, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon so you can get notified every time we upload something new.
Yeah, and thanks again for all of your questions today. We had a really good amount of that, and looking forward to seeing you again on our next show.
We'll see you next time.